Hello everyone, I'm Fabiha Anbar from STV News, and today we have with us the Chief Security Officer of United Nations Economic Commission of Africa, Mr. Jackie Asmi. Sir, can you hear me?
Hello, hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, sir. We all know that it's Sri Lanka's worst economic crisis in decades, and it has been pushing people to the brink. So what do you think about the reasons behind the Sri Lanka's economic crisis? We want to hear from the perspective of a Chief Security Officer.
Thank you very much. Sri Lanka, once upon a time, the fastest growing economic power in South Asia, is now facing the worst economic crisis. Soaring inflation, huge pile of debt, falling currency, and bleeding foreign reserve. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong in Sri Lanka. Cash dollar in hand, government cannot import the commodities like fuel, food, and medicine. Inflation rate is 30%. There is not enough food. Citizens are cutting their meal portion. Thousands of Sri Lanka fell into poverty. There are power cuts. Hospitals are running out of medicine. This is not only an economic crisis, rather a humanitarian crisis. The main reason for Sri Lankan crisis is the management than politics. Sri Lanka imports more than it exports. Therefore, there is always a trade deficit and budget deficit. In the past, the gap was filled by tourism. Sri Lanka's response more disastrous. To solve the problem, they started borrowing money from here and there, which means it owes more than it produces. In the last couple of years, the country has moved from a pro-market approach-driven mode. Billions of dollars were spent for mega projects like ports, roads, and airports with little returns. In 2019, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa announced it. Historically, the country has a low tax rate, and the president cut it to half, which caused a budget deficit. The country was downgraded to the near default rate. In April 2021, he chemical fertilizer because of environmental issues, as well as to save the foreign currency. As a result, this year the food production reduced to 50% from the previous year, and for the first time in the country imported its basic staple, rice. 13% of Sri Lankan GDP depends on tourism. It also brings cash dollar. The 2019 Easter bombing damaged then came the coronavirus. The number of tourists reduced to 10% comparing to 2019 and before. The coronavirus also affected the remittance. The Sri Lankans abroad stopped sending money. By June this year, the country fall into deep shortage of dollar. Today, Sri Lanka's debt to GDP ratio is 111%, which means it owes more than it produces. It devalued the local currency, but it didn't help rather it plunged the purchasing power of the common people. So in short, it is the bad policy, bad politics, and bad management that caused the Sri Lankan crisis.
Thank you, sir. Second question is, since it's known to all of us that the education rate in Sri Lanka is above 90%, what harm has it done to the education sector? So what do you think about it?
Yes, you're very correct. In the subcontinent, probably Sri Lanka has the highest literacy rate. According to UNICEF, around 4.8 million Sri Lankan students school due to poverty this year. 73% of Sri Lankan households will eat one meal a day, and 12% of Sri Lankan citizens will fall below the poverty line. In the school, there is no paper to and answer books. There is no electricity in the rural areas. Power cut is frequent in the cities. The school buses have stopped running service due to fuel shortage. The effect will be disastrous and will leave a deep wound in the education system of Sri Lanka. Since education is the backbone of Sri Lanka, In the near future, there will be a big problem with the Sri Lankan education as well as economic situation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So my last question is, do you think the crisis will be solved in no time? How long it may take to address the situation?
That's a very interesting and it's very difficult to answer. A solution to the problem is being visible at this moment. The people are on the street. The president Gotabaya has resigned and fled the country. A new interim government will take over very soon. However, the country is in big mess. So what is the future? The Sri Lankan crisis is multidimensional, so it needs multi-pronged solution. First, they need everyone, which is a very difficult task at this moment. Then an economic solution to reduce the debt burden. It will be a long, tough process though. The World Bank has suggested that 3 major steps should be taken for Sri Lanka at this moment. Boosting the agriculture productivity by using chemical fertilizer, then investing heavily on tourism and soft skill and creating informal jobs, and of course, avoid unnecessary spending on. They need a social stability to handle the internal threats like ethnic and communal violence. The power vacuum could be utilized by the perpetrators and could flare the old wounds. When will it end? No one knows the answer. Unless a miracle happens, some scholars says it may take up to 1 decade to bring the economic stability in Sri Lanka. There is a big lesson for everyone. Don't spend to earn. Cut your coat according to the cloth. Otherwise, every country will follow the fate of Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for being with us today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too. All the best.
Yes, sir. Thank you.